I got into trucking because my whole life exploded on me. But let me tell you about Indiana. Indiana hates me. I don't know what I did to Indiana, but every time I went, something catastrophic would happen all the time. So trucking gave me a lot, but it's also like that toxic relationship. So that's why I quit. It's like the ex that won't leave you alone, but it's so toxic, but yet you can't seem to quit him. Hey, y'all. Grab your drinks, grab your snacks, your emotional support blanket, and let's get started. This one's going to be deep, and it is about running away, finding yourself, and how I ended up in a semi. So, look, I didn't get into trucking because I loved trucks. I got into trucking because my whole life exploded on me. My fiance cheated on me. I dropped out of college, moved 2 hours away to get away. I had no plan and I didn't know what I was going to do. One day I was on a road trip and a truck was passing me and I was like, let's drive a truck. So with no plan and doing the most chaotic thing I could do, I worked full time during the week and I went to trucking school on the weekend. Trucking school brought on anxiety like no other. You're learning how to drive a vehicle that's very high profile. I was learning how to drive a trailer for the very first time, and even though I knew how to drive a manual transmission, truck transmissions are completely different. So when I was driving on tiny roads and having to pass other semis on narrow railroad tracks with arms right next to the tiny road, I freaked out. Okay? Who wouldn't? I was very claustrophobic. It's like there is no way these semis are gonna fit together. But they did. Before I graduated, I actually got hired. It's called pre-hiring and company scout schools, like football recruiter scouting players to play for the NFL and stuff is like that. So they watch you, they look at your records and how you're doing and stuff like that, and they will offer you a pre-hire. And as long as you continue to meet the criteria, as soon as you graduate, you can have a job. So I went to my first company in the middle of winter. They threw me up in the New England area, which is like New York, New Jersey, Maryland, like all that up there in the Northeast in the middle of winter. So I was learning how to sink or swim. There was no in between. I drove my first bridges, my first tunnel. No, like, I live in a state that doesn't really snow that much. I'm more coastal than snowy. However, I did grow up in snow, so I knew a little bit, even though I was too young to drive in it. I did it all, and I think that made me a better driver, and it immediately started pushing me out of my comfort zone, which is crazy. And I don't know if y'all can hear it, but there's major zoomies going on in the background, so it's getting wild in here. I was a solo driver. I started with a trainer, obviously everybody does. I did start with teams and no bueno. That did not last long at all. So I was a solo driver OTR. That first year of OTR felt like a road trip. I would park the truck, get an Uber, and just explore. Like the Japanese garden in Phoenix, Arizona. Been there. Favorite restaurant in California, the Mexican restaurant in Fresno. Loved it. I grew up in Missouri, so of course I hit every Casey's I could, which is a gas station if you don't know. Syracuse, New York was my first city I drove in. I have a soft spot for New York. Love it, especially upstate. Oh my gosh, beautiful. And the Florida heat does not do well for my hair, honey. We cannot do Florida. But let me tell you about Indiana. Indiana hates me. I don't know what I did to Indiana, but every time I went, something catastrophic would happen all the time, every single time. I've literally been to like 46 states, never gotten a speeding ticket outside of North Carolina, which is my home state, except for in Indiana. I've never been in an accident, except for North Carolina. North Carolina doesn't count. That's my home state, right? Things happen in your home state. Literally 2 accidents in Indiana. One of those gave me PTSD. Like, I'm still suffering, and it's been over a decade. It was a black ice accident, and That was when I was so new with the trainer. My trainer was sleeping, and I didn't know that I could say no, and I ended up on some black ice, and actually, it was so bad that companies give grace for that time period. They're like, "If you were on this stretch of road during this stretch of time, like, you're good. Like, we're just gonna pretend it didn't even happen." The cop literally got in an accident trying to get to me, and 5 seconds after I had my accident, another semi was right behind me having the same accident. Like, I'm not saying that makes it better because it doesn't, but it was bad, right? So I lost my job because I was still training, like, they don't want somebody that just had an accident. I was scared of the truck, so I quit trucking for 3 months, and then when I decided to go back into trucking because you have to get back on the horse, right? The first place that the company sends me is the West Coast. I had never been to the West Coast before, and I was getting ready to do the Cabbage Patch, which, if you don't know, it's like this huge mountain patch that they literally warn you about because it, like, kills so many people every year. I was petrified. So, obviously, I quit again mid-drive, and I was like, "I can't do this." I was freaking out. So, I told my trainer, and I was like, "I cannot do this. Just I'm so scared." And he was like, "Okay, cool. Just tell dispatch." I'm like, "Okay." So while we were at the truck stop, some other truck drivers, they saw that I was upset and they were like, "Hey, what's going on?" And here I am, like me, I've looked the same since I was like in my 20s. But my trainer was like a 7.5 foot gigantic man, right? So they were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I was in an accident, black ice, and I'm just scared." And they're like, "Okay, tell us what you've done." And I was like, "Oh, I drove in New York and New Jersey and West Virginia." And they're like, "Really?" They're like, "West Virginia is like one of the worst states to drive in and you've done it multiple times. Like, you're good." They're like, "Watch some YouTube videos of other truck drivers doing it where they record it going down the cabbage and take it 1 mile at a time." And that 1 mile at a time literally got me through 12 years of trucking. And if you break it down like that, when you're so scared because trucking will push you out of your comfort zone like no other job I've ever had. And if you break it down to 1 mile at a time, like you get through it. So trucking gave me money and freedom and luxury vacation. It was just me and the road. I had no bill, no ties to home, except for like my mom and my nephews. And I was missing all of the holidays, and I was missing my nephews grow up, and my dad was like, "Well, what's more important, money or memory?" I said, "Memories." So, I quit over the road, and I became local, but I still had no life because trucking consumes you, and it dictates every part of your life. It wrecks your body. Like, I have medical issues now, like, my knees are bad, my ankles are weak. I now have carpal tunnel because of an accident of when I jammed my fingers into my wrist because I was falling. Anyways, I also have sciatica issues because when you sit there and drive, your pelvic bone twists and it messes with your whole performance muscle. And there's a lot. Trucking literally wrecks your body. It's like the ex that won't leave you alone, but is so toxic, but yet you can't seem to quit him. I even quit a few times. This is my 3rd time. In my trucking career, I hauled 6 different types of trailers. I was a dispatcher many times. I learned how to be a transportation supervisor. I think that this is gonna be the time that I don't go back. I literally found my dream job. I get to dress up and be a girl. I get to work in an office, which is easier on my body. I actually have work-life balance. Like, I literally told my coworker today that I feel like I'm living the unemployed life right now while having a job and while building a whole Mindi-Verse empire because there's so much going on behind the scenes, you just have no idea. So stick around if you're interested. Anyways, this all may sound basic to people, but when you live the trucking lifestyle for as long as I have, like, this is revolutionary. This is what dreams are made out of, and I feel like I'm dreaming all the time, and I'm like, "Pinch me," and then I'm like, "This is my life." Like, I am so happy mentally, emotionally, physically, like, it's game changing, and I hope that you see that through my videos and I never want to give up what trucking has given me, and that's why I want to share it in this podcast and help other people understand trucking, like, how it changes you as a person, not, like, how to be a truck driver type thing. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. Do I regret any of it? Absolutely not. Trucking made me who I am, and I'm proud of that. It pushed me way past my comfort zone so many times. It showed me how strong and resilient I really am, and there will always be a part of my heart for trucking, and the way that logistics is a forever changing puzzle, it, like, it entices me. Like, I cannot get enough of it, and I swear I have diesel in my veins at this point, but I don't recommend trucking to anybody. It takes a very special person to be a truck driver, and I'm not saying that because I'm a truck driver. I'm saying that because I've seen so many types of people go into trucking. It literally takes a special person. You have to be strong-minded because that is a lonely life. You have to have fire in you to keep going day after day when you're having weeks upon weeks of bad luck. And you have to be okay with sacrificing everything that you know and love because even simple tasks like doing laundry when you're OTR is a task. And being around people all the time for people you don't know, and your company's gonna treat you like you're replaceable because you are. So if you're thinking about going into trucking, here's my advice. If you're going OTR, make sure your mental game is strong. OTR is gonna test you every day mentally and emotionally. If you're going local, make sure that you're strong physically because it is going to beat you up every single day. Bumps, bruises, who knows where they come from at this point. And just remember the public drives like it's Mario Kart and they're on the Rainbow Bridge. Like, it's crazy the way people drive around trucks. But just take it 1 mile at a time. Thank you for joining this episode of the Green Couch. My name is Mindy, and I will see you for episode 3, which will not be a trucking episode. One of my subscribers requested it to be about YouTube. I'll see you there.